Some days when I'm just cleaning my room and I'm just putting on my podcast and listening to Woody's Gamer Tag or Painkiller already and just kind of melting the day away, I just think about how fortunate I am to sort of have this platform and how much it means to me and how much I appreciate all of you. And especially when it comes to these advice videos where you guys have been absolutely eating it up, and I really appreciate it because this has been sort of a brand new idea for me and something that's been very exciting and fun to work on. Anyways, what's going on, boys? My name is Hunter, and today we're actually switching the topic quite a bit today. Last week we talked about college. This week we are taking a completely different shift, not really giving life advice, but today we're giving job advice. Today I'm going to be talking about YouTube, how to start a YouTube channel, and how to get started in this industry. Now, first of all, obviously, I will never claim that we are some top 10 creator over here on Point C. That is not even close to the truth. But I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable in the sense of how to start a YouTube channel, how to edit, all those sort of things. So I'm not going to be telling you guys how to edit. That is going to be a whole separate video that could be 3 hours long of me teaching you guys how I edit. But I do want to sit down and kind of talk about how do you start a YouTube channel and how do you get the ball rolling. What I think is most important is, first of all, figuring out what you want to do content-wise. There's this idea on YouTube called a niche. A niche is sort of the genre that you're in, the specific genre that you're in. For example, you can be a Fortnite YouTuber, but what kind of Fortnite YouTuber are you? Are you a funny moments channel? Are you somebody that is getting the best gameplay possible? Are you somebody that's into super high kill games? What is your niche? What makes you stand out from the competition? And over here on Point C, ours we found is our humor. So we leveraged it by doing sort of any game that we want, games that we find entertaining, and combining that with some of the YouTubers that we grew up watching and making these funny moment videos. So how did we find our niche? So first of all, I've been making videos for years on YouTube. Thankfully, most of it is gone and you can never find it. However, when I got started, I was making basically similar content as to what I was making now, except it was less comedy focused and more just sort of gameplay focused. That sort of changed for me when Noah approached me with helping him edit Point C. In particular, the first thing that I edited on this channel was Goo Lagoon, which was our original Minecraft server. So basically from there, we sort of honed the sort of creators that we grew up watching, the comedy that we enjoyed, and it slowly turned into our own style. So if you go back and watch those old Point C videos, they're very much clearly ripoffs of some of the content that I have already mentioned that I fell in love with. But what's important is that you need to find your niche and how to stand out in that niche in particular. What makes people actually want to click on your videos? There are a million Minecraft videos out there on YouTube, but what makes yours special? What makes me want to click on your YouTube video? I think once you've come down with a niche, it's important to then figure out what is the name going to be. A name is almost as important as the niche. For example, Point C is a name that kind of rolls off the tongue compared to other fucking names I've seen on this goddamn platform where it just does not roll off the tongue. Another good example of that is the Act Man. The Act Man is a great example of a name that is easily sayable, it's easily recognizable. For example, Tubbo, who is a Minecraft YouTuber, has talked about how his original name was Super Tubbo. Super Tubbo is a bit long. I think that it's important to try to cut down on the name so that it's very recognizable, or even come up with a shortened version of it. A good example of that is Jay Schlatt. Jay Schlatt is known as Jay Schlatt. However, most people just call him Schlatt. That's just kind of a shortened version. Find something that kind of sticks out, but is not so complicated that it's impossible to find. Listen, if you have to pull out a piece of paper so that somebody can find your channel, you have failed at marketing. Next up, what is super important on that list is coming up with sort of a marketing scheme. What do you want your channel to be? And Point C has gone through a few of those. Originally, Point C had sort of this sort of dark and grim vibe, and not in a bad way, but it was more black themed, more darkish color. And that was sort of the thing that we did for the first year and a half of this channel. Or if you go back and watch a lot of those videos, the logos and the sort of the subtitle style was a bit more gothic, if that makes more sense, compared to now where it's more light and bubbly. And that's sort of the tone that we've gone for. That's also why we dropped the entertainment, was also trying to A, stand out, and B, and also just trying to give a more welcoming and warm environment for newcomers to come into. And also you can see that through the style of content. Originally, the video editing style was very like bare bones and wasn't super complex. The way how I put it is that I used to spend like 3 hours a week on these videos, except now I'll spend about 12 hours on a single video. And then from there, I'll spend a few hours making this video every single week, right? So I've expanded that time, which also leads me to the other thing. YouTube is a very big commitment. This is always a very fast-paced changing industry, and it's a very competitive industry. You need to be prepared to sort of give up some of your free time, number one. And number two, it's also, is this what you want? And let me tell you, man, it can be stressful. I say this to my friends all the time. It's like, I don't play games for fun anymore. If I'm playing games, 99% of the time, I'm playing them because I'm recording them. Whether if it's with Noah and we're making a brand new video, or it may simply be that I'm just like recording footage for these videos, right? I feel like I always have to be doing something. And I'm very fortunate enough where I'm able to sort of have that time where I can edit, and I'm still having time for my other job, and I can also spend time with my partner, and I'm able to balance all these things. You need to tell yourself, am I going to be able to do this? Because let me tell you, it can be draining. I have spent so much time working on this channel, and that's no dig at people that spend less time. I am just like dedicated to this, where I spend almost all of my free time either editing, coming up with ideas for the channel, trying to grow the channel, which we're going to get into in a second, but sort of what can I do to improve? I'm either looking at new techniques in Premiere Pro, studying marketing, I'm looking at SEO stuff, I'm looking at all sorts of different avenues to sort of help the channel grow rather than simply fucking sitting on my ass watching TikTok. Now we're going to be talking a little bit about how do you grow that sort of audience. How do you get in front of people? Well, first of all, there's simple tactics like marketing. Well, how do you market? Let me tell you, I've studied marketing for 2 years while I was getting my technical degree, and I'm also minoring in it in college. And let me tell you, I still don't fucking know. And here's the issue with that. There is no correct answer. Marketing is one of those things that is always changing, and every single case is going to be very different. But what I will tell you to start out with to try things is, first of all, do not just upload a YouTube video into the wind. If you are at the point where you are able to edit a bit more extreme things and you're not just editing in iMovie, what I would recommend doing is learning how to make YouTube shorts, how to make TikToks. That's what I've been working on most recently. I've just kind of been reminding myself I need to be making TikToks, reels or whatever you want to call it, YouTube shorts for every single video that we put out except the life advice, because it doesn't really work on social media platforms. So how does that work? Well, first I edit the video. I then export the video without adding subtitles or music. I then re-import the video into a new Premiere project. I then change the aspect ratio of the video. I then cut it up how I want it to be about a minute long, and then I go ahead and add music and subtitles, export it, and get it ready for YouTube. That is typically what I'm doing for social media presence. It's also important to sort of look for avenues on places where you can post it, whether if that's Twitter, Reddit. So it's important to look for avenues and understand that there's no correct avenue. Some people can get away with just posting to Twitter. Some people can just get away with using Instagram reels. You got to figure out what works for you. And also, don't be discouraged when you get 2 or 3 views. And this goes for live streaming too. You're going to live stream for 8-10 hours a day and you're not going to get a single viewer. I've done it, but what's important is to keep your head high and remember that every single creator has done it, except maybe like fucking 15 of them that somehow got lucky or their dad works at YouTube. So after you've created your niche, you started marketing, you kind of put together a channel, it's looking good. Now what? Make content. That's one of the best pieces of advice I can give you. Don't make 3 videos. Put work into quite a few videos. There's 150 videos on this channel, and there's gonna be more coming, right? But guess what? We don't sit here and give up and we're like, well, the first 150 didn't work. No, that's 150 videos that we learned from, in my eyes. I feel like that way I have learned so much about YouTube. I've learned so much about editing. If you look back on that first Alpha 69 video, those subtitles are awful. They're not even centered. The text changes throughout the video. But if you look at the videos now, the subtitles are, I hate to toot my own horn here, they're beautiful, right? They're looking fantastic. But what's important is that you need to sort of learn, right? This isn't something that you're just going to upload a raw footage of you and your friends playing Rainbow Six Siege and expect to get millions of views. You're going to have to sit down and spend some time actually editing and putting in some real hard work. I cannot tell you how many times I've watched videos over and over and over, and I'm like, you know what, that clip didn't make me laugh. You know what, I was bored for those 10 seconds. 10 seconds matters a lot in this industry, right? Especially when I'm looking at click-through rates and I'm seeing when you guys are clicking off of videos. I'm like, all right, why did they click off at 1 minute and 10 seconds? All right, let's look. All right, so at 1 minute and 10 seconds, me and Noah are talking. Okay, I need to cut that out more, right? So we're doing this thing where we're learning how to edit. We're learning how to trim down videos and make it the best content possible. That's why videos have slowly become sort of shorter. I mean, they're 7-8 minutes, but the thing is it's like those videos do so much better than the 12-minute videos that are full of more fat or that just do not entertain as well as the 6-minute video that did fantastic. And also, speaking about getting discouraged, it does not matter where you start. You can always improve and you can make some great content. When I started on YouTube when I was relatively young, I was recording my Xbox gameplay with an iPad, right? I went from an iPad to then recording using Twitch to then using an HD capture device, and now I use a 4K capture device. See that little transitional period that we had there? I went from the fucking bare minimum to the absolute fucking top of the line. And that's something that you got to keep in mind. Almost everybody has gone through these transitional periods where they started out making content on a fucking iPhone and now they're making content with their 4K cameras. You're going to have to learn to grow, and you're going to have to learn to understand that this is a tough industry and that it's going to take a lot of trial and error. That's the other thing. Just because a video fails does not mean that you failed. Sometimes videos just do not hit the right audience. Sometimes videos just do not pick up the traction that they deserve. It's also important to remember that sometimes what you want to watch is not what the public wants to watch. And I have to remind myself of this all the time when we play games that are fun, but they're not necessarily what the algorithm wants to see. Also, confidence is really key. It's super important to stay confident and to sort of pick your head up and tell yourself, these videos that I'm making are hilarious. And I tell myself that all the time. I'm constantly catching myself just quoting with my friends point C moments. Like all the time we reference moments from the fucking mall cop video, right? Because it's funny. That's a fantastic video. Or we reference bits from baseball all the time when we're just chilling in Discord at night and we're like talking about teams that we can make, right? It's important to stay confident and to remind yourself, I'm making good content, you know? And sometimes it's not going to be the best content. You could put out shit content for months straight, but you still need to remind yourself that I am doing well and I'm chasing towards my goals. And just to head back to the niche topic just for a minute, I also want to point out that do not branch out too much. What I mean by that is that a lot of small YouTubers will do this thing where they experiment, which they should, but sometimes you can experiment too much, you know? One day you could be making a League of Legends video, then the next day you're making a video about how to do an arts and craft project, right? That has nothing to do with gaming, had nothing to do with that previous niche that you hit. That just does not work. Also, when we talked about marketing and kind of like growing video editing wise, it's also important to learn thumbnails. I can provide some great information that I've read and learned about thumbnails, but the thing is that a lot of times you may say, clickbaity thumbnails, that's kind of cringe. But guess what? They fucking work, bud. They fucking work. Like when I look at the click-through rate, it is absolutely obscene how crazy it is when you do side-by-side testing with these thumbnails. And the one that you may say, I don't like it because it's too flashy, is the one that wins. And that's the unfortunate part. Sometimes you're going to have to make liberties for your creative freedom, for your overall channel freedom. Sometimes you're going to have to say, you know what, I may not be the biggest fan of what I'm doing, either in this video or playing this game or whatever your niche is. But what is important is to understand that this is going to help in the long run. And of course, make content that you enjoy. I don't want you to be a miserable sack of shit, right? But at the same time, you still need to learn how to grow, especially in this industry that is constantly changing and will never slow down for you. You need to be running at its pace, and most time, you need to be passing that pace. You need to be looking at trends and understanding what is about to be on the horizon. It's almost like a stock market in a way. I feel like I spend so much time looking at articles, looking at charts that make no goddamn sense to anybody except me, and like they're like, what the fuck is this shit? And I'm explaining to them, I am chasing a trend and we are going to hit that trend. For a lot of people, that's where they're like, I want to quit. And I understand it. I can make a video or a video series on how I edit videos in Premiere Pro if you guys would like to see that. But most of you are going to have access to iMovie or I don't know, Windows Movie Maker. What I want you to do is just experiment. Make a fucking shitty YouTube poop. Just learn how these softwares work and just start crafting your videos around that so that you know what your tools are and how to use some of those tools. There are plenty of great tutorials on YouTube, or you can just read articles, however you want to do it. Now, eventually I would recommend you learning either Final Cut Pro, Premiere Pro. It's a very complicated software. And I would really recommend that learning video editing is going to put you ahead of 99% of the competition. I would also really highly recommend learning how Photoshop works. And you don't need to know everything for Photoshop. You just really need to know how to make thumbnails and, YouTube banners and logos and that sort of thing. And a lot of that stuff you can outsource. Like, I outsourced the logo for this YouTube channel and also the banner. But just kind of understanding how that works so that you can make your life so much easier when you're editing, putting together content, coming up with ideas. It's just a great thing. And one piece of advice that I'm really going to give that has helped me out in sort of, the last year is writing down your goals. What is something that you want to achieve? And for me, I have so many different goals written down. There's a really interesting sort of idea that when you write down goals, you're more likely to complete those goals. Maybe it's the fact that you've decided to take out the 2 seconds of your day to actually write it down. And when I mean write it down, don't write it down on your phone. Take out a pen and paper and do it and stick it somewhere. That you will see it either every day or semi-regularly. I have it in my office at work where it's sitting in next to my computer. So when I walk in every morning, I see it and I'm like, yep, we're doing that. And guess what? I've gotten a lot of those goals. I have learned some great tools in Premiere Pro because of it. I have just, really worked hard on this channel. I mean, we're uploading 2 days a week, which is crazy for us. And it may be kicking up to 3 or 4. So what's important is that just sort of slowly learning how to become better at this career and also just staying motivated. That's a big factor. If you're somebody that can't be self-motivated, I'm sorry, but this shit is not for you. You have to be self-motivated. You can't just give up. You can't give up after 2 videos because you didn't blow up like XQC. You're going to have to put in the work, and it's going to take a long time, but it's going to be worth it. Anyways, boys, I hope that this video was helpful. It's been absolutely fun working on these videos for you guys. I have been thoroughly enjoying every single moment of it, and I could not ask for anything better. Like I mentioned, you guys have really just kind of been super supportive, and it's been my dream for a long time to make this sort of content, and you guys are helping me achieve that. And I just want to say that I could never do any of it without you, and I really appreciate it. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate it if you could smack that subscribe button, press that like button, and leave a comment down below. Anyways, guys, I really hope that this helped, and I hope to see some of you on the YouTube field soon.